Hi beauties, today's video is all about how to pass your IELTS exam. Okay, I'll be sharing with you all what I did that enabled me to pass this exam. So if you are planning to write IELTS for the first time, or you have been struggling to get the required band score, whether it's to register with the nmcuk or you want to use it for other purposes, this video is for you. Chill and watch the video to the end, because I'll be giving you unpopular tips that will help you pass your next exam. For the purpose of this video, I have divided it into two sections. The first section is I will give you general tips that you can apply across all IELTS domain, and the second one will be a specific tips for each IELTS category. Okay, say listening, reading, writing, and reading. Okay, my name is nursingjobsuk. If you're seeing my face for the first time, let's dive straight into the video. I looked for ways on how to expand the common IELTS question areas. Okay, in case you don't know, there is what they call common IELTS topics. Okay, I will show it on my screen somewhere, and I'll have a paper. I've written it out. I'll also be reading it from here. Okay, so we have the tourism and travel, education, transport, environment, family life, sports and recreation, crime and punishment, the internet, advertising and retail. Guys, what I did, I went online and I searched for words that can be used to describe things. For example, retail, words that can be used to describe transport. If you do your research well, you will see thousands of words online. Write the ones you can and learn how to use it when you are writing or speaking. That will boost your IELTS a lot, because you will give them, like, you appear to them that you know how to use your English language well. Okay, even if you don't want to use it after the exam, just learn it for the purpose of passing your exams. Okay, another general tips I will give you is for you to know the exam and the types of questions to expect. For me, my first exam was in Nigeria. At that time, I was one of those people that felt IELTS was just an English exam, because if you're from Nigeria, or if you are not, I'm telling you now, we have different languages back in Nigeria, and our central communication language is English. So I gave myself that false hope that I've been speaking English since I was small, so I didn't really prepare that much. It was when I got to the examination center, I wrote it in Enugu to be precise, the multitude of people I saw, I was like, Chimo, this is really an exam. Then I started hearing people saying, I've written for 7th time, this is my 8th IELTS exam, this is my 9th IELTS. I was like, oh really? Anyways, know the type of exam that will help you when you are to write your real exams. Okay, second point is on practicing. Practice. It will help you to develop the skills you need to pass IELTS exam, because for me, it's about the skills. It's about giving the examiner what they are looking for. Once you're able to give them that word that help them feel like, okay, your English is good enough, you pass it. Okay, so practice, and practice with the right material. Guys, for me, I had downloaded loads of materials. If you want them, let me know in the comment section and I will give it to you, because I still have them. I've not deleted them, I've kept them, and each time I want to take it off my laptop, I'll be like, I will have someone that this will be useful to. If you need them, let me know, and I'll search for the links and see if I can attach it in my description box. Okay, so practice with the right material. Don't go with what's your, maybe whoever you're practicing with, if you registered with a training center, is using. The right material that have either the British Council, IDP, or Cambridge name will be a standard for you. Okay, because once you start practicing with that material and you're getting maybe like 8 or 8.5 or 7, chances are when you go to the real exam, if you're getting 8, you might get 7 or 7.5. And during your practicing, guys, don't do like you practice halfway and you go and cook, you practice another way and you go and sleep. No, because you don't have all those luxury in the main exam. What I used to do then was I will get my phone as a timer, set the stopwatch. For reading is 1 hour, so I would take maybe 5 or 10 minutes off because exam is exam, you have that anxiousness, you're not really relaxed like if you're practicing at home. So I'll take off some minutes from my time to give myself that pressure and push to finish it, okay? But before then, I will tell you what I did specifically for each of the exam categories before I got to practicing in examination scenario kind of way, okay? So if I set the timer, I won't stop it. I will read them all through to get till the end. Next thing is for you to monitor your progress. It's not just practicing. How far are you going? Are you progressing up, or you're just where you are, static? So you need to monitor your progress. How well are you improving? So what I did was I got a book. Let me show you. I got this kind of book. You see, this kind of book. So I divided it into the 4 parts of IELTS: the listening, reading, and writing. And I practiced with the book. It helped me monitor my progress over days or over weeks, because I was doing it with one specific book. And when I'm marking, because I did on my own, I didn't practice with anybody. It was just at home all by myself. No teacher, no person to help. I have people around, but they were busy, so you have to fight your own destiny yourself. So after I got the requirements from the books I have, they will give you the requirements you need to get a 5 or a 6 or a 7, okay? So after I got those requirements and what they are looking for the reading is straightforward. You have to get, maybe if it's 40 questions, you score 38, you get maybe like 8.5 or thereabouts, okay? So that one is straightforward. But for writing is where the work is. You have to read it, write and read it yourself. Mark yourself. You have to be really hard with yourself, because it's the practicing, right? You have to be tough with yourself. So that was what I did. Then the next topic is for you to follow instruction. In all your categories, guys, you need to follow the instruction. If they tell you use one word, don't add or remove, use one word, okay? So guys, let's discuss now on the specific IELTS categories. So the first one is listening. Before we continue, what I wrote was the academic IELTS, and that was for my nmcuk registration. Although what I'll be sharing in today's video will be beneficial to you, whether you are writing the general IELTS, academic IELTS, or UKVI and their likes, but you will need to contact your organization just to ensure the type of IELTS you are required to write, okay? So that you don't waste your money, right? So let's continue. So for the listening, this part of exam requires you to multitask. That means you will be reading, writing, and listening at the same time, okay? So before the recording starts, you'll be given time to read the questions. When you are reading, underline keywords and try to paraphrase, because you will not hear exactly what you read on the paper. What that means is, if they write increase on the book, on the question, when the records start playing, you might hear skyrocket or rise. They will use a different word. So try and think up synonyms, paraphrase how else the speaker can say the same thing you are reading on the book. This is where practicing comes in, because once you practice, you will develop fast skills on how to do this, okay? And once the recording starts to play, be aware of distractors. These people can confuse you. They'll, first of all, for example, give you a wrong answer. That is a distractor. Maybe they will say things like, I saw Nkechi in the market on a red top. And they will say few sentences and come back again and say, oh, sorry, the top was blue. Blue has become the right answer. See, they've twisted it. So be aware of distractors and how they use it in their speaking. One thing that helped me with listening was, before I started doing the real exam thing, I used to play my listening tapes. Okay, I downloaded a lot of materials. I've said this earlier, right? It helped me a lot, because I would just play the listening and be looking at how they fluctuate their voice, the rise, the fall, and sometimes I listened to it to a point that I was able to dictate when an answer is coming. When it goes, I'll be like, that's an answer. So you need to really listen, guys. That's just the truth. And when in the exam, don't lose your attention. You need to be focused. Listening has to do with a lot of focus because the tape goes really fast and it is played only once. So once they start the speaking and distractor thing, if you feel you have missed an answer, don't panic. Continue to listen, because once you panic, tendencies that you will lose more answer will come up. Okay, so don't get distracted. Don't panic if you have lost any answer. Continue to listen. After you have finished your listening and you want to transfer your answer, use I would say you use capital letters. That was what I did, because instead of making the mistake of starting a name with a small letter, maybe you want to write Ngozi and then you write N with small letter, just write everything in capital letters. That was what I did. Okay, because they will also be checking how correct what you have written are. Okay, so use capital letters to transfer all your answers, and be aware of spellings when you are writing. Put it in the sentence. Does it complete the sentence in a grammatical correct way? Okay, for me, I used pencil, or I later got a pen that I use, and the pen, when I write it, when I clean it, it cleans up. It functions like a pencil. Okay, so guys, be aware of that and don't leave any blank space. Write everything. If you've missed answer previously, just have a guess, a wide guess, and cover it. You never know, it may be correct. You are not penalized for a wrong answer. Okay, so let's move to the second part, which is IELTS speaking. So for the speaking, what I did first was I listened to British people speak, maybe through BBC, ITV News. Then when I started my preparation, I got my phone and a mirror. I will sit in front of the mirror and press record on my phone. Then I will start speaking. I was speaking literally every day. Okay, but I was answering those questions that were already in my materials. So I'll ask myself the question and give the answer, then record. Afterwards, I will listen to it to see how many fillers I was using, the and all that, just to know how coherent my speaking was. Okay, over time during my practice, I learned, instead of using like if you don't know an answer to a question, you can use words that will help you to think up an answer. Like, for example, if they ask you, what was your worst day ever, you can go, I've never really thought about that, or let me think for a minute. They will not penalize you for that, instead of going my first day and all that. Okay, so those words helped me to think up an answer, but all these will come with practicing, guys. Okay, and also when you start speaking, there is no correct answer. You need to just learn how to cook up a story very fast and how it will progress. Okay, and expanding your answers will help you a lot. For example, tell me about your worst shopping. You can start by saying, it was a rainy day on a Tuesday morning. I was cooking, then I realized I have run out of crayfish. I was to go out and I slept. Just learn how to expand your words and how to use synonyms in your words. For example, if they ask you things like unhappy, instead of just repeating I was unhappy and I was unhappy, you can say things like depressed, sorrowful, miserable, sad, downcast. You've put it in your speaking just to replace that word. Okay, another point is don't cram answer. When you cram your answer and you start speaking, you lose what you were meant to say, you'll be in trouble. So just practice and develop your own ways of answering. There are words that once you use in IELTS, it will catch the examiner to look like, oh wow, this one can speak. But they are just skills you develop over time. Okay, in the main exam, when you start speaking, don't use big unfamiliar words. You want to impress the examiner, I know, but don't go using unfamiliar words that you don't know how to use in your speaking. Okay, so guys, let's go to the next one, which is IELTS reading. The reading, the first thing I did was to practice based on the question types, the matching paragraph, true or false, multiple questions and their likes. Okay, I just practice each of the questions I have, so that I will develop my own way of tackling the questions before I now set an exam scenario where I will sit down and answer it from the one question to the last question without any interruption. I will set my timer and answer it. Other skills that you can develop that will help you is your skimming and your scanning skills, because for the reading you need to read the whole paragraph quickly just to get the gist, and then you scan and underline keywords like names of people, dates, places. You just underline it. One thing I think the IELTS go is the answer goes in progression. Like you can't see number 10 answer before number 1. I think, well, it happened when I was practicing. That was what I feel, because I've never seen it come up in that way. Okay, so you practice in that manner. Don't waste time. If you're wasting so much time in paragraph 1, you will be choked by the time. Okay, so you need time management. That's just what I'm saying. So what I normally do is, once I start reading and I'm struggling in any part, I'll just carry on. I'll leave that part, maybe underline, maybe write question 8 on that part, and I'll continue. So when I have finished all my answering, I'll come back to that place I stopped. I wrote question 8 that I was struggling to find the answer, and then read again to see if I will get it. If you ever don't see any answer, have a guess. Don't leave any question blank. The last aspect, which is the writing. When it comes to writing, my problem back then was how to start with one point and consistently finish my paragraph with that point. For example, I might be writing, Nkechi went to market with the baby to buy Pampers. And in between the paragraph, I'll be like, if I have written about Nkechi was cooking, maybe it would have been better and more interesting for the examiner to read. Then I will start wiping it off. Guys, there's no correct or wrong answer when it comes to speaking and writing. Okay, all you need is to develop your point very well and carry on. So what helped me was I saw an acronym, or I learned an acronym, which is PEEL. PEEL. That is, P is for the point. Before you even start writing, what point do you want to write about? So I thought of it. How do I explain or expatiate this point to give me more lines? Okay, you think about that and you give example if there's any example that can relate to what you're writing, and link it to the next paragraph. Then move on, because you need to logically organize your thoughts. Okay, and it will have to flow to make more sense to the examiner. All right, that's what matters. And remember, I have mentioned common IELTS topics in the beginning, so I learned on how to put them in my writing. And for each paragraph, you need to stay on one point. Don't write so many points until you confuse yourself and confuse the examiner. Next thing I will talk about is when it comes to the number of words you need to write. For the academic writing, you need to produce 150 words for the first task and 250 for the second task. Okay, what I did was I printed the actual paper that they will give you in the exam, and I practiced with it. It enabled me to know how my handwriting was, how many lines I will write that will give me the words, because in the exam you won't have time to start counting each word after the other. So you just print that paper, practice with it, because our handwriting differs, right? It will give you that idea of how many lines you've written to get 250 words. Okay, so that's it, guys. I hope this will be helpful to you. And if you have watched up to this part, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And I will see you in my next one. Good luck.